I'm Sarah Olivieri. Many of you know me, but in case you don't, I'm a #1 international best-selling author, former executive director. I'm also a former professional marketer, and I'm creator of the Impact Method. And today we are going to be talking about websites. Now, I spent years building websites and marketing for websites, and it's actually a huge topic. I'm going to give you a few actionable things that you can focus on today, but the truth is building a website is kind of like building a campus, multiple buildings. So there's a lot involved. So I just want to give you a few quick ways of assessing whether or not any given page of your website is going to work. Now, before we get into that, I want to remind you that your website on its own, unless you have incredible search optimization, is not really bringing traffic to it. So someone might have searched Google and found your site. Someone might have responded to an ad and seen your site. They might have been told by a friend to see your site. So usually that very first moment where someone discovers that your organization exists is before they reached your website. And today we're going to be focusing especially on home pages. But home pages aren't always the first page that people see. So what I want you to keep in mind is to always know who is your website for. And for nonprofits, there's usually one of two situations. Either your website is only for your donors because your clients are never going to go to your website, or your website is for both your clients and your donors. So do me a favor, put in the chat now, or if you're watching the recording, put it as a comment. Is your website donors only or both, meaning clients and donors? Both, yes. Most service organizations are both, donors and clients, both, donor only, awesome. So we'll talk about those. So we'll talk about some tricks too if you're both, because your home page, the bulk of your home page is about what's in it for that new person and what's in it for the returning person. Great, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we're just gonna talk about a little bit of anatomy of a website so that you can follow me with that anatomy, and then we're gonna dive into looking at as many pages as we can in the next 15 minutes so that you can really start to get a feel for what's going right and what's going wrong. Here we have the PivotGround website. So what are we talking about here? We have an area that's called above the fold. That's everything you can see right now before I scroll down. I'm using a very big screen, so I can actually see more than some people on a smaller screen, but you can probably tell right here is the above the fold section, and anything down here is just bonus. So the most important thing for new visitors is this above the fold area. Now, you have a very high attention area up here, which is a great place to have a button that is a call to action for your first time visitors. Your menu here, and you might have some or even more repeated at the bottom, is for returning visitors or people who are done already with your home page. So as long as your menu is well organized, anything that a returning visitor who already likes you is there for, they will come here and they will find whatever it is that they're looking for. So let's move on to what are the 3 things that you need to focus on. And we have some updated links. Awesome. Okay, so let's see what we can get through here. So what are the 3 things we need to focus on? I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. I've gone super high tech for you today, and I've written them on an index card. This way I can hold them up while we're looking at sites. So the first question that your visitor is going to be asking and that you need to ask yourself, so think about your homepage right now and ask, do I belong here? That's the first thing your visitor is thinking. And if they say, yes, I belong here, then they'll move on to their next question. If they feel they don't belong here, then they'll leave the site. But if they move on, the next thing they want to know is, what do I get? Or what's in it for me? And if they think that the thing that they get is something they want, then they'll move on to the third question. If they don't think they want the thing, then they'll leave. And the third question is, now what? What do I do next? And the trick here is to really keep it simple. One choice, ideally. You tell them exactly what their next step is. So let's take a look at some sites and think about these three questions. I wasn't originally planning to do PivotGround, but you can tell. Nonprofit strategic planning that works. And I've done here, I've answered hopefully 1 and 2 with one swoop. You belong here if you have something to do with nonprofits. And what do you get? Strategic planning that works. If you'd like to know now what, apply for a call, where you'll see I'm giving you your next step at pretty much every step of the way. The rest of the page actually just goes into more detail around what do you get and what are your next steps. So let's look at some of your sites. And I'll keep holding this up now and then. So, do I belong here? I'm maybe, if I'm your target donor and I lost someone to Alzheimer's, I might think I belong here, but I'm not sure because you haven't told me anything about me specifically. This might be, I might be thinking if I'm a caregiver that I belong here, or if I need a grant that I belong here. What do I get? I'm not as clear on this, so I would love you to clarify, Willie Mae's Legacy Foundation, clarify what do I get? And tell me a now what. I'm certainly not ready to donate yet. So if I'm a donor, give me an intermediary step, my next step. Or if I need support, tell me what you want me to do. Do I need to call? Do I need to send you an email? Do I need to fill out an application? What is my next step? And don't give me too many choices. Just one would be great. Let's take a look at our next one. The Tyler Green and Taylor Grant Foundation. So here I see I'm good above the fold, but it tells me who you are, but I'm not sure if I belong here. So your next step is to change the language right here to something that tells me whether or not I belong on your website. And the other thing is, clearly this is what you are doing, but what do people get? What do I get as a donor? And I'm going to go a little deeper as we see some different examples. Most of these, by the way, I have not seen yet because I want you to have my honest first impression. So as we get into it, I'll give you some examples of what do you do when, what do I get? You need to answer that both for a donor and a client with 1 or 2 lines. We'll get there. Okay, Florida Black Bear Scenic Highway, providing education and advocacy about our byway and black bears to the community. So love this example. Beautiful pictures. I know that if I'm a nature lover or a bear lover, that this site is for me. Now, one note about the slider is research has shown that having changing messages and images on a home page is either does one of 2 things. Either only the first slide ever gets looked at, or people don't look at it at all. So on your home page, you want to eliminate the slider and craft one static image that's the most effective. So I know if I belong here, but I'm not sure what I get. Do I get educated? I'm not sure. You provide education. Try to make it a little more about me or about the people you serve. And let's take a look at now what. Let's assume that I belong here and I know what I get. Now what? Too many choices here. So you can give me one choice for donors to bring me along and one choice for people who want to participate in the programs. Moving along. Great. I am just going to check on the questions here. This is recorded. You'll be able to access it. We will send a link out as soon as it's up. The Women's Resource Center. Do I belong here? Have questions? Want to talk to a real person who cares about you? Yes, I do. You're giving me a really clear call to action, and you're telling me what I get. Now, I'm guessing that this is for for if I'm a woman, and I couldn't really see until just now that this says the Rockies. So if you're local only, what you need to do is add here, are you a woman in the Rockies or in such and such counties, and have questions and want to talk to a real person who cares about you? Call. That's the information you need. And you can have that here as now. I would put that pop-up as your main thing. And then questions like wondering if you're pregnant, I would have them down below as some of the things that you can help with. Now, what does this mean if I'm a donor, right? Notice this site is all towards the client. And I think for those of you who are serving both donors and clients with the homepage of your website, focus heavily on what do I get and answer that question for the client. If you tell me the outcome that I'm getting as a client, you will also attract me with my donor hat on, because I know that I'm coming, that what I get when I donate is to be a part of the same outcome, the same success story. I get to contribute to making that success happen. So if you're a both, make sure you're really clear answering what do I get? And that's like the final outcome, right? That's the easiest way to say, what do I get? You get not step A, step B, step C, you get the solution that step A, B, and C gets you. All right, Indian Rocks Beach action. Do I belong here? Well, I don't actually know where Indian Rocks Beach is, but if I did, I would have a feeling I belonged here. And it has something to do with keeping it beautiful. And that I can, what do I get? I have the opportunity to volunteer, go to an event, or join, although I'm not sure what join means exactly. But I'm going to guess if you're an association, then I might want to join. But what I'm not really sure is what's my next step? So the big thing you need to do here is have a clear next step. So I would have an opening headline. I would move a little more detailed information about your events, volunteerism, and what it means to join down below. And I would have a clear next step as a button up here, a button in the top section, and then next to each of the things that you do. Desert sounds. Awesome. Smiling faces of children is always great. It'll give me a few more seconds to stay engaged. Same goes for kittens and puppies. Anything cute will give you a few more seconds of my time, which will probably let you have a few more words. What I'd love to see you do is have some words here, because I'm not sure, without going below the fold, if I belong here or what I get. So other than you use cookies, and you don't want that to be my very main impression. So your donation gives kids music. Tell me a little more about that before you ask me to donate. Your donate link here for anybody who's already decided to donate is plenty clear. I'm going to be looking for that. So give me some sort of header that tells me, preferably all at once, do I belong here and what do I get? And then tell me how to get the thing. So you might say music education for children in this area, or at-risk youth in the area you serve. That will tell me if I belong here, either as a parent, a child, or as a donor who's interested in helping the same group of people. Let's see. Okay, we are going to go a little faster. I want everybody to have a quick look. I might not get to everybody's site here. Portland Adventist Community Services. Do I belong here? I'm not sure. Tell me something. Use this space. Give me some words that convince me to watch the video and ditch the slider. Then tell me, what do I get? And then tell me what to do as my next step. For those of you who are having donors and clients, remember you might have one next step for a client and one next step for a donor. And my pro tip to you is try to think of something for the donors that is not donate, because I'm probably not ready yet after just seeing the homepage of your website. Ask me to do something else. Health outreach partners. Outreach is at the center of your care. Your success is at the center of ours. So if it's care related, I know I belong here if I utilize care, but what I don't know is where necessarily. So, and I'm asking because care is often local. Is this for me because from wherever I am? So give me a little clue about where your service area is. And then give me a really clear first next step. This, we've got 2 find what you needs, 1 attend a webinar, and 1 about find out how. Make the financial case for your outreach program. I'm still not sure actually if I'm in the right place. So give me more on all 3. Compassionate Health Services. Okay. Welcome to Compassionate Health Services. Well, I'm not sure. Let's make our community a better place, but I'm not sure which community you're talking about. So you need to tell me if I belong here or not. Who is this site for? And I can tell you make a difference, but how can I make a difference? So tell me the difference that you are achieving. Neighborhood Coalition for Shelter. Great, helping New Yorkers find their way home. Neighborhood, well, I know if I'm a New Yorker, which I am, that I belong here. That's great. Neighborhood Coalition for Shelter provides housing and support that can transform lives. So that's great. I'm pretty clear here what, whether or not I belong here. But I'd love to know just a little further, what do I get? So if I happen to be a homeless person, and I have a feeling that your site is mostly for donors. If it's mostly for donors, tell me the end result that you get for shelter providers, or even take it a step further, when you work with shelter providers, what are they able to get for homeless people? So tell me that end result so I know I want to be a part of it, that I get to be a part of it. Turning Point, Horses Building Futures. There's a little too much going on here. So, and the thing that, so when we read a page, we tend to go, they say it makes an F shape, right? We go kind of up the left. This is only really relevant, I think, to English readers, people who read languages in the other right to left. I'm guessing, I'm not familiar with them, but I'm guessing they probably have a different view pattern. But we tend to go up on the left, over to the right. We kind of hang out over here for a bit, and then maybe we'll circle around and check out what's here. So what this is meaning is that I'm mostly focused on your financial update, which is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I belong here yet. So I might check out. If I'm a horse lover, I might stick around a little longer. So give me a little more to go on to convince me to read through and make sure you've answered all 3 questions. So I want to take a moment here and ask everybody, have you had an aha moment for your own site? Are you going, I see it now? Or are you still not clear? Give me a 1 if you see it in the chat and a 2 if you're still not sure. Yes, great, awesome. Excellent, yay, we can see it now. Wonderful. So we are almost out of time. I will hold another one of these and I'll keep, so if you want to resubmit your site, if it didn't get covered today, you are welcome to submit your site and I will do it in the future, maybe even next week. So I want to give you the opportunity though to go ahead and change the home page of your site. Now I want to give you 2 more resources. One is if you are having any sort of technical difficulties, like you're like, oh my God, we don't know how to update the homepage of our website, please shoot me a quick email or send me a message on Facebook, sarah@pivotground.com, and I'd be happy to recommend a few web developers who can help you sort out and make a website. If you even let me know your rough budget range, I'll send you someone who's kind of in that range. And the second resource is if you really need some more help with how do I figure out exactly what to say, look up StoryBrand. It's a fantastic framework for figuring out what to say on your website. So StoryBrand, if you want to get a little more background information on what to say and how to frame it. And feel free to reach out to me if you would love a referral for some help with your website so that you can actually use it and manipulate it. And please submit your websites the next time I do this topic. Thank you.